Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the El Cajon City Council meeting. The meeting is called to order, and I will ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
All council members are present.
Would you all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a brief moment of silence? And I'd like to ask School Board Member Joe Allegria to come up and lead us in the pledge.
Thank you. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the April 9th, 2019 meeting and the agenda of the April 23rd, 2019 meeting in accordance with state law, council, and housing authority policy. We have 3 presentations on today's agenda, and council members, would you please meet me below? With us today is Robert Calloway, President of the Pacific Southwest Association of Realtors, as PSAR. He will introduce participants for the Pacific Southwest Association of Realtors and a check presentation to the San Diego East County Chamber of Commerce Foundation for the development of ECAassist.org and new homeless resource website. Welcome. Mr. Calloway, would you like to say a few words?
Oh, yes. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council, for having us here. So I'm going to have to refer to my notes so I don't forget anything. Okay, I'm pleased to introduce some of the team that's with me. Ms. Kay Lemenager. She's a realtor, and she was the chairperson for the Homeless Task Force and marketing chairperson. Tracy Morgan Hollingsworth, who's holding the big check. She's our government affairs director. Joe Mackey, who's the South San Diego East Chamber CEO, and Marie Picani Snyder, Consulting Project Director, East County Homeless Task Force, and Carol Lewis with the El Cajon Collaborative. And so we just, a couple of years ago, they started this with working to help you guys with the Homeless Task Force. And so through a grant, we were able to get you guys $5,000 to bring up the website. Wow, so, yes. So with that, we would like to present you this check.
Well, thank you very much.
My check.
Okay.
Okay. City? Come on in, council.
If you guys. Oh, hot mic.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Trust.
We've got more.
She's got more.
There's more.
More big check.
But wait a minute, there's more.
There's
Okay. It's kind of like that game show, huh?
Sounds like Shark Tank.
Oh, yeah, I know. Ronco. We're also here to thank the El Cajon City Council and the City Manager, Graham Mitchell, for your support of the task force's efforts. El Cajon is one of the only East County cities to provide resources to track the number of homeless through the Homeless Navigator the city has underwritten at the Crisis House, provided animal shelter space so the homeless can have their pets stay in a safe place while they try to find permanent shelter, and provide public safety resources through your police department HOT, which is called Homeless Outreach Team, to identify chronic homeless and encourage them to use homeless services to get them off the streets and onto permanent housing. We salute City of El Cajon's work on the homeless issues. We'd like to present you with these wristbands, which you don't necessarily have to hold on to yourself, but when you encounter a homeless person, on the street, make sure that they know that they are invited to use those resources. This is the El Cajon Resource Guide, which the task force put together. And the booklets and the wristbands are meant to be distributed to all the homeless out there. The Chamber has a supply of them, so if anybody in the audience would like to come by and get any, it's a good way to be able to say to a homeless person, here's where you can go to get resources, and also let the public know that there are resources that you all can be supporting to help the homeless. So thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Well, on behalf of the city, we gratefully accept these gifts and donations, and we appreciate all the hard work you're doing in the community. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think the council would like to shake all your hands if you guys wouldn't mind looping around.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Go this way. Thanks, Bill. Thanks,
Hi.
Hi, nice to
See you everywhere. Hi. Thank you. Hey, thanks for all the hard work you're doing. I know you're doing a lot.
That's what you do. I appreciate it. There you go.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Hey, Joe. Good to see you again. Yeah, I missed you for a few minutes there.
All right, next we have the Youth of the Year Award. I'd like to invite Recreation Services Supervisor Malo Lutu to share with us about this day. Yeah, well, you can come here. Everybody, that's the way everybody can see you. Let's move over. Everybody come in. Make sure we get everybody in. Here you go, sir.
Thank you very much.
Can you make it? Come on. Let's move a little further. You're not going to have to hold the door all day. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Fa'amalo Lutu. I'm the Recreation Service Supervisor at Renette, and I also oversee the Teen Coalition. This year we had a long list of incredible nominees, ranging from 7th grade all the way up to 12th grade. Our Teen Coalition members went over all the nomination forms. We also held meetings with all the nominators to really determine who the Youth of the Year recipients were this year. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to our chair of the Teen Coalition, Mr. Alvin Mwangi.
Thank you, Malo. The City of El Cajon Teen Coalition sponsors an annual Youth of the Year award to recognize those youth who go above and beyond in serving their community, either through their leadership abilities and or dedication and commitment to community service in El Cajon. All nominations are reserved for youth who are residents of the City of El Cajon, and service must be accomplished within the calendar year previous to the nomination period. The award for the 2019 is based on service conducted in 2018. This year, the Teen Coalition selected a middle school award recipient and a high school award recipient. Each recipient will receive this award recognition for their hard work and dedication to the community, and their names will be placed on the perpetual plaque, which is displayed at City Hall, which is right here as well. Our winner for Youth of the Year High School from Valhalla High School, who I would like to welcome up at this time, is Sandrine McKenney. Unfortunately, Sandrine McKenney's nominator cannot be here, so I will read her nomination form at this time. And I quote, "It is my pleasure to write this letter of recommendation on behalf of Sandrine McKenney. I have been asked to write many letters, and I have never had the pleasure of writing one with such high praise and sincere commendation. Sandrine is an exceptional young lady who I have had the privilege of knowing for the last 3.5 years as a school counselor at Valhalla High School. Sandrine ranks in the top 20% of her class of 517 students with an overall GPA of 3.805 and has achieved this while maintaining balance between academics, leadership positions, sports, extracurricular activities, and volunteer opportunities. Her educational goal is to attend a four-year university and major in political science and minor in music. Sandrine works hard to achieve excellence in every area of her life. She is one of the kindest and most giving students I have ever met and brightens up your day the minute she is in your presence. Last fall, I had the privilege to work with Sandy on our annual toy drive in memory of our staff member, Tony Gutierrez, who started the details of the event were handled smoothly, but that the toys were donated to the agencies that Tony felt passionate about. On the day that the toys were being picked up, it was the last day of final exams, and most of the students had left to begin their winter break. Sandrine stayed on campus until 3 p.m., waiting for the community agencies to arrive and pick up the toys. She greeted them, helped bag up the toys, and had recruited some additional ASB members to help carry the bags down to the truck. Through it all, Sandrine had a positive attitude, even when the agency arrived late, and she demonstrated grace and patience and true desire to ensure that the job was complete and that she was there to see it through. What is most impressive about Sandrine is that she understands her role as a leader and how she can use her talents to serve others both at school and in the community. She is the current ASB Executive President, a Norse Crew Leader, a program of 85 highly selected juniors and seniors who serve as mentors to freshmen throughout the school year. She has been a Unity Day leader for 2 years, assisting staff with our sophomore students through 2 full days of activities. Sandrine had also served as ASB Junior Class President, and she was the ASB Head of Media Publicity as a sophomore. She had also founded 2 clubs on campus, the Pink Ribbon Club, where she is also president, and the Acts of Kindness Club, where she serves as vice president. She is also on the varsity track and field team as a member of the San Diego All-County High School Honors Orchestra playing the violin. I have been fortunate to watch Sandrine lead. She has had a natural gift of making those around her feel valued and heard. She is always positive, and people gravitate towards her for leadership and advice. It was not surprising that Sandrine was selected by her peers at this year's Homecoming Queen. It is without reservation that I name Sandrine McKinney as an ideal candidate for the City of El Cajon Youth of the Year Award.
All right, thank you, Alvin. It is my proud honor to announce our Youth of the Year for Middle School Award winner from Emerald Middle School, 8th grader Jody Isidro. I would also like to call up Teresa Spencer to talk about why she nominated Mrs. Isidro.
Thank you very much. It is my proud honor to nominate Jody for this award. The nomination started with the 8th grade team. The 8th grade teachers came up with her name and nominated her because of her excellence in academics and citizenship and effort. They couldn't quit talking about how wonderful Jody is. And I had the privilege of spending the last couple of years with Jody and seeing her develop as a musician. I am her music teacher. And I was able to watch her grow as a student leader. So not only has she gone from beginning guitar player to more advanced and branch out to piano and other things as well, but her real talent lies with dealing with other people. She's an advocate for other students, and she's a gentle leader. She treats people with respect and encouragement, and she brings them up to her level. So many students, when they are talented, they either do solo work or they just kind of goof around like their friends do. But she did not choose that path. She brought other people up to her level, and I'm just so very proud of her, and I'm going to miss her dearly when she goes to high school.
Lastly, may I just present both the high school and middle school 2019 Youth of the Year.
All right, first off, we have to honor some other people. Are your parents here, or anybody from your family here? Yes. Can you all stand up, the family members? Now, here's the hard part. You have to say a couple of words.
I'd be honored to. I'm so grateful for my parents who have supported me through not just my high school journey, but throughout my whole entire life. In anything that I do, no matter how hard it is, from driving me an hour every day to have a violin lesson or just being there for me and supporting me through every single thing in my life, they've always been there for me. My mom actually wakes up every morning at 5:30 and she makes me food for school. So that's a little thing that I want to thank her for. And my dad will drive me wherever I need to, because I kind of got my license a little late, so oops. But he'll drive me wherever I need. And I'm just so thankful for you guys, just in everything, for supporting me in any path that I take in life. Also, I want to thank my counselor who couldn't be here today. She's in Puerto Vallarta, so I'm glad she's having fun. And also my 8th grade science teacher, who even though is from a completely different district, drove all the way over here from Poway. She's right there just to see me get this award and has kept contact with me for the past 5 years now. So thank you so much. I'm so appreciative for all of you, and I'm so grateful that God put these people in my life. So thank you.
I'd like to say that I'm really thankful for my family and friends who supported me through thick and thin, especially my band members. I would not have performed into all these amazing places without them, especially my tech, Noah. Over there, my parents, who supported me through everything, and Miss Jo, Miss Spencer, who's taught me everything I needed to know, and I'm extremely grateful for them.
Well, congratulations. And all the council would like to shake your hand, so if you could come by, congratulations. Thank you. So much. Congratulations. You do great things in high school, huh? Nicely done, guys. Well done. Very good speaker. You need to apologize? Okay. What am I not going to grab that. There we go. Hi. Thanks for being here. Well, that's just such a nice, great thing. Lastly, we'd like to celebrate Administrative Professionals Day. Laura Johnson from the Chief of Police Office will accept the proclamation on behalf of the administrative staff. Lauren, could you come down and join the council? And Monica, would you read the proclamation, please? Hi. Good.
This is a proclamation for Administrative Professionals Day, April 24th, 2019. Whereas administrative professionals play an essential role in coordinating the office operations of businesses, government, educational institutions, and other organizations. Administrative professionals are vital contributors in today's team-oriented work environment and are key frontline public relations ambassadors. And whereas an observance that began in 1952, Administrative Professionals Week, has become one of the largest annual workplace observances. The event is celebrated worldwide, bringing together millions of people for community events, educational seminars, and individual corporate activities, recognizing the important contributions of administrative support staff. And whereas leadership was once thought to be the exception to the rule and is now the rule without exception, this critical skill set is now required at every organizational level, including today's administrative professionals. Developing a unique leadership capability is the one thing administrative professionals can do to fast-track their career satisfaction and success. Whereas Administrative Professionals Day and Week is sponsored by the International Association of Administrative Professionals, IAAP, this year's theme, #WeLeadUp, recognizes the radical evolution for the administrative professional due to both internal and external expectations, and the efforts made to ensure this profession doesn't simply survive, but thrives. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim April 22nd through 26th, 2019, to be Administrative Professionals Week, and April 24th, 2019, to be Administrative Professionals Day. We further salute the valuable contributions made by the City of El Cajon administrative professionals on behalf of the organization and the community they serve. Signed this 23rd day of April, 2019.
On behalf of every administrative professional staff here at the city, there's quite a lot of them. Probably not. They're busy working very hard. My chief's here.
Let's have anybody stand up as administrative.
Yeah, is anyone in the room an administrative professional?
They're all working.
Crickets, they're working. So on behalf of all of us who work very hard, it's an honor to accept this on behalf of everyone. I've been with the police department for just over 5 years. The city is a family, so it's an honor.
All right,
thank you.
Well, I can tell you, if it wasn't for Teresa, our administrative professional in the office, I'd probably make it to very few events. She calls me up in the morning and says, "Do you know where you're going today, right?" And I say, "Yeah, I know." She said, "You're lying to me. You don't have any idea." And then she'll tell me where I'm supposed to go, what time I'm supposed to be there, and sometimes she'll even call me half an hour before I'm supposed to be there. She says, "Are you leaving? Are you going?" She's great. Okay, moving on. Agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
Mr. Mayor, no changes to the agenda.
Council members? No? That brings us to consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion items of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any of the consent items? Mr. Goebel.
I'd like to pull item 5.
Item 5 it is. Okay. Anybody else? Staff, do you want to pull any consent items?
No, sir.
Angela, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
Sir, we do not.
Then let's take a look at item 5. Steve, I'll leave it with you.
Okay. Just a couple of questions. At first glance, I could see how the public would say $138,000 a year for graffiti abatement would be pretty high. You think the average person could go around the city and just cover up graffiti for less than $138,000, but there's more to the story here, isn't there?
Mr. Goebel, you're correct. This does represent a lot of graffiti incidents in a given year. In fact, if you'd like, I have a slide that kind of shows how many. We looked at the last 3 years. You can see over the last 3 years, 10,000, almost a little over 15,000, and about 13,000 different graffiti incidents each year in the last few years.
Wow.
So that's averages 30 to 40 a day or something like that. And if we're paying $139,000, we're pretty close to $10 an incident, it sounds like.
Yeah, the 2017 is about $9.50. The less we have, the more per hit, but about $13 an incident.
And it's more than just painting over things. They have to do some other things, don't they?
Correct. So when there is graffiti, we can go to the next slide, actually. When there is graffiti, we determine whether, first of all, how to remove it. Sometimes it's just painting over, matching the painting. Sometimes it's sandblasting. Sometimes it's just washing. But before that happens, we actually take a photo of it, and then we load that into Graffiti Tracker. I think a lot of council members are familiar with Graffiti Tracker, but it's a program that categorizes a lot of our tagging, and then we can associate it with an individual graffiti or a tagger. And then if we ever catch that person, we're able to go back all the different times they've been able to, every graffiti incident we can track to them or link to them, we can go after for economic damages.
My second question is, there were 2 bids on this project, 138 and 139.2. Somebody might say, why don't we give the project to an El Cajon firm who came in second for only $1,000 more, but there's restrictions, aren't there?
Correct. We've used Allstate for many, many years. We are required to go out for public bid. This is a public bidding project. They both met all the qualifications. Urban Core is a firm that we've not used in the past. They do work for the city of San Diego, the city of Carlsbad, and the port of San Diego. So they have experience in the area. And our previous vendor will have an opportunity to bid on it next time.
So I think overall, an incident of $10 roughly to catalog and do the work really is a good value for the people of El Cajon. So I'm going to go ahead and move that we approve all the consent items.
Second.
Moved and second, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
That brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council members, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any cards under public comment?
Yes, sir. We have 4 at cards, and the first one is Terry Rushin.
Yes, I would just like to address, I'm sorry for my dress attire.
Come on up, sir.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You look comfortable. I envy you.
I did not know I'd be here. It's to address the apartment house, the old age apartment house next to the library.
Okay.
They have a gate going into the library foyer, if you want to call it. And there's one person, elderly lady, who pushes a little walker, who was punched. She's on 2 other occasions, she's had her purse stolen. There are people along that gated area where they come and go, and all along the railing there. And people in that apartment house are scared to go that way at night. And believe it or not, I would be scared to go that way. And I'd just like to address that somehow. Also, this person is also saying that it's a known drug den now, that you can hear it through the walls, all the drug deals going through. I have spoken to the chief in the back of the room, Jeff Davies, and he said he would address it. And I guess I'm also going to speak to Sue, so I appreciate that. Angela just said that at least it should be on record.
Yeah, I'm glad that Chief Davis has talked to you. Would you mind coming back at some later time and tell us how things are coming along? If it's not getting to your satisfaction, we'll think about what else we could do.
Sure, I will.
Gary?
Sir, I want to thank you for coming here and taking the time to tell us about this. Public, in many cases, are eyes and ears, and that's why we're here to listen to you. So thank you so much for coming.
Thanks. I have nothing to gain or lose. It's just I like to be the voice of an elderly person.
That's really important.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
George Ibarra.
Hi, George. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor Wells, Honorable City Council, and staff. I'm here on behalf of the East County Coalition to request your appointment of Ms. Estela de los Rios to fill the City Council seat that was left vacant by Councilman Colacio upon his resignation. At the last City Council meeting, we were advocating in favor of a special election by the citizens of El Cajon, but you, Mayor, and the City Council voted otherwise in favor of appointing a candidate to fill the vacancy because of a projected cost to the city of approximately $450,000. To appoint the wrong person to the vacancy would be detrimental to the city and would mean business as usual, which translates to we, the citizenry living in the city that is the poorest in the county of San Diego because of lack of vision for future growth of business and commerce. The chances of an El Cajon citizen becoming a victim of crime is 1 in 240 with a population of 103, which is below average of the state of California, which is great, which just goes to prove that we have an awesome police department. Bullying in our schools, we as a coalition have addressed it with the City Board of Education here in El Cajon. It's fallen on deaf ears. There's been several incidences because of race, ethnicity, and religion. Again, it's fallen on donkey ears is what it's done. And we're also concerned about the burgeoning homeless population with no end in sight, and to date, very little action to address the issue. However, we do appreciate what you have done thus far, honestly. I've gone through the city, and I do buy food for some of these folks sometimes. We have given out blankets to some of these folks some of the times. And being out there at 1 or 2 in the morning doing these things is just something I do personally and with other folks. And I just would like to see a lot more done with that. Even after the U.S. Ninth Court of Appeals decision that states being poor is not illegal, the City Council voted on a resolution in 2017, 5-0, to ban food outreach efforts by private citizens and churches to the homeless. Housing services we are concerned about the lack of housing services to our seniors, veterans, and newcomer populations, and are a major concern that need to be addressed immediately. El Cajon needs a person with a real vision for financial growth and infrastructure of our city, and a person who has a real concern for her fellow human beings, and that person is Estela de los Rios. And also, she has an eye for folks who should be receiving grants, folks who do not discriminate, folks who do business with the city who do not discriminate against their tenants, because of retaliatory action or discrimination because of race, color, or creed. In closing, I would like to address and clarify a statement that I made at the last City Council meeting, Honorable Mayor. It is not I who referred to the Mayor's office, the City Council, as the good old boys club. It is the general consensus of people that we meet with throughout the city, and the appointment should not be based on whether the appointee is liberal, conservative, as you mentioned, Mayor, Republican, or Democrat. It should be solely based on their ability to perform their best interests and their best interests for the city. And furthermore, of the record, I'm a lifelong Reagan Republican, and I'll just leave it at that, and I thank you for your time.
George, I have a question for you. When you said we voted to ban the feeding of homeless people, you left out a pretty big part, didn't you?
I understand the hepatitis aspect of it.
Yeah, that's why it was. We're trying to save lives.
The health department proved otherwise.
I just like to set the record straight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ruth Thornton.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Ruth. Welcome.
Thank you. I have something nice to say today.
Great.
Yesterday,
you get double time.
Yesterday, we had a death in our community. I live in a senior mobile home park. And when the police came out, they just did an excellent job. They spoke with the family, they spoke with neighbors. If they could see that someone was upset, they walked over and spoke with that person. And I just want to acknowledge how nice it was to have them be so caring. So,
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We do have an excellent police and fire department.
Our last speaker is Jim Sirigliano.
Hello, Jim. Welcome.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, council, staff. Just real quickly, first of all, it was nice to see all the coordination about the homeless people. I know there's a lot more going on now. And as far as funding, like I said at the last meeting, there's never enough money for that. Getting back to what Mr. Albero was speaking about the last meeting, about the applications to fill Mr. Calasho's vacant seat. Mr. Clark made a wonderful suggestion about why not do a mail-in ballot, and would save the city a lot of money. No comments were made about it, but I think it was worthwhile looking into. I've worked with the National Conflict Resolution Center years ago, and they did free mailings for me, and I don't know, that might be something to look into in the future. I guess the decisions have been made about that. And I want to thank Councilman Goebel for suggesting extending the application period for people. And I agree with Mr. O'Barr about it should be a fair choice. You know, it'd be nice to see maybe even a woman on the council for a change. Let's see. And real quickly, Mr. Mitchell, I hope to get to meet you because I really do want to make some changes to the mobile home rent mediation, Municipal Code 5.82. Good suggestions. And I believe that when that was drawn up in 1991, there were a lot of park managers involved in writing that particular thing that I'm aware of. And to me, it was really unfair. And I'll address this more with you about that there. And then Assistant City Manager, Mr. DiMaggio, I like to thank him because he always brings up things about the state level in the bills that we're faced with, even if it's just one at a time. There's a tremendous amount of them. He spoke about marijuana, or I should say cannabis, excuse me. And I just hope that the City Council and everyone else here, the staff, I hope that you're educated about this here. I'll just give you an instance like the City of Vista. They're going to allow people to come in, but it's strictly going to be for medical cannabis, okay? There's a big difference. You can study the plant. The leaves are for the recreational end of it, but the stems or the hemp, that's what's used for medical reasons. And aside from that, it'd probably be a big boon to the city, money-wise. Just something to look into because it's happening, okay? It isn't. This is not an issue nationwide. It's happening. And just to paraphrase a line from a movie I saw about, Superior Court Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I think it applies to the city in general, all of us. And she says, we're not asking you to change. The people have already done it. And if you look at homeless issues and a lot of other issues, this is what it is. That's why these people come here to speak to you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? All right. And if anyone has any questions for me.
Let me see if anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
No more cards, sir.
Okay, thank you. There are no written communications on today's agenda. We're at public hearings. Item 12 is for the adoption of the 5-year consolidated plan and the 1-year action plan. I will ask staff to introduce this item. Tony? Thank you.
Mayor and Council, this is the second of 2 required public hearings under HUD for the allocation of CDBG and home funds. Our first public hearing was held on February 23rd. At that hearing, the City Council heard the introduction of the 5-year consolidated plan, which describes how the city will use the CDBG and home funds over the next 5-year period, and also the 1-year action plan and how those home funds will be, home and CDBG funds will be allocated over the coming fiscal year. City Council made some adjustments at that February 23rd hearing. Those have been incorporated in the proposed resolution and are in front of each of you in a spreadsheet format for your review. Staff recommends that the City Council finalize the allocations of the CDBG and home funds as part of the fiscal year 2019-20 1-year action plan and adopt the next resolution in order approving the consolidated plan and the 1-year action plan. And staff is available to answer any questions.
Thanks, Tony. Any questions for Tony? Thank you, sir. Nice report. I'd like to open the public hearing and ask Angela if we have any speaker cards.
Yes, sir. We have one card. Harold Brown.
Hi, Harold. Welcome.
Mayor, City Council, staff, just wanted to come and thank you for all the hard work that's been done in the city to try to help with the homeless issue. As everyone's pretty well aware, we've been able to take thousands of homeless families off the street, get them back into permanent housing and into life through the collaboration that we have with all the different agencies that apply for these grants each year. Homelessness is a very difficult situation. There's many aspects of it, but this particular program that you're funding today has been tremendously successful, mostly with single moms with kids who have been sleeping in their cars around our city streets. And so I just wanted to thank you. What a difference in many years of coming before the council and speaking on behalf of homeless moms and single dads with kids. We're one of the few programs in the county that will accept a single father with children. They have a difficult time once they're in the situation that they're in. So I just want to thank you. Thanks for all the hard work that's done and the collaboration that happens.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Harold, for all the good that you've done in this city. How many families right now are at ECTLC, and how many children and how many single men?
Currently, we have about 77 families, which have about 148 children ranging from newborn to 17 years old in one of our 3 family programs, and we have about 160 single men, single women in long-term programming, getting back into life, getting jobs, and becoming productive members of our community.
That's great. In fact, I have 2 new graduates from your program that live at my house now, moved in last month, and the graduates come into my house, stay for a while, get their credit fixed, and move on to other things. So, and they've all worked out wonderfully. So I would encourage anybody in the audience that, if you really want to do something, try that. Now, I've been
you might be an empty nester and you've got a couple of rooms open in your house, and you can get with Gary and ask him his track record with our folks, and I can pretty much assure you that you're going to have a good experience.
And I come home and they've done the dishes. I didn't even ask them. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Steve?
Thank you.
Go ahead, Steve. We'll get the
Harold, I think there's something really good about this parking thing. If I remember right, you're saying sometimes you'll have an open room and you'll call somebody and say, come, but because they may not get there for a day or two, that room may go empty for a night.
Yeah.
And if you're able to stage them in the safe parking area, you reduce the number of vacant rooms, making this program all the more valuable, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. That's our goal. That's our goal. Thank you, guys.
Nice. Bob?
And Harold, I'd like to echo what Gary said. I think you're doing a fantastic job over there, and I've supported you for a number of years and everything you've done. And I've used your people many times for some work jobs around the house and the business property that I've used, and they're just incredible people. They work hard. It helps the ministry. It helps them in their work efforts and to learn new skills or improve on their skills. And also, you're building some new buildings here pretty soon, aren't you?
We are. We're excited about that. We're in building. The plans have been submitted, and we hope to have a big groundbreaking ceremony late this summer and have you all out there and put the golden shovels in the ground and and celebrate. The goal is to be able to bring 40 or 50 possibly additional families off the street. And unfortunately, we have that situation. In El Cajon, we all know, the poverty level is very high. People are paycheck to paycheck, and any number of things can happen, and a family is in their car on the street. Yeah. And many of these just need a hand up for a very short period of time. We work with housing navigators and everybody else to get them back into life. And it's great when we have that kind of a net system in place to where they don't become chronically homeless.
And you say the plans have been submitted?
We're in building, yes. We are in the building department. Planning Commission approved it. We're in the building department, so we're looking forward to, I don't know how long that process is.
All we need to do is get the building department to speed it up a little bit so that you can have your plans and
my control.
Get on with it, because I know your people that are going to build it are anxious to do so.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, Bill?
And one other comment, the city of El Cajon, a lot of people don't know this, but we spend more on the homeless than all the other East County cities combined.
Yeah.
And then one of the reasons we do have a high poverty rate is we have a lot of our housing here rents for a lot less than other parts of the county. So that draws people that don't make a whole lot of money. So, and there's nothing wrong with poor people.
Nope.
You know, they need a place to live too, and a lot of them live here in El Cajon, and hopefully they're able to educate themselves and move on to better jobs, and they can move to more upscale housing. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thanks, Pat. All right, any more?
No more cards, sir.
Okay, great, thanks. Then I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, gentlemen, this is actually a pretty straightforward issue, kind of a housekeeping thing. Any discussion, or would somebody like to make a motion?
Well, first of all, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to thank you for adding that suggesting we add the extra $10,000 to Meals on Wheels. I think that's something really important that the seniors worked all their lives, and sometimes they just don't have quite enough money to get by. And that Meals on Wheels program is great. They not only give them food, but to give them companionship and kind of check up on them. So I'm really happy that you came up with that. It was very kind-hearted of you.
Well, I've been out with the Meals on Wheels folks, and I was really, it was heart-rending to see how happy these seniors were to see the Meals on Wheels people come. They could care less about the food. I mean, I know they ate the food, but they put the food aside, and they wanted to visit with the person that came to see them. And I could tell they were as hungry for companionship as they were for food, and that's what got me on the Meals on Wheels bandwagon, I guess. But I'm a big fan. It's a great program.
I'll move adoption.
Oh, thank you. Second. All right, moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Excellent. All right, item 14 is the proposed plan for... Oh, did I miss something?
13.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Continue with public hearings. Item 13 is a public hearing for the adoption of the annual adjustment to the Sandag Regional Transportation Congestion Improvement Plan. Staff, would you tell us about this, please? Hey, Dirk. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm going to introduce Mario Sanchez, our city traffic engineer, to tell you a little bit more about this.
Hi, Mario.
How are you? Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. This is an annual fee it's mandated to all the 18 cities in the county under Sandag, and it's a 2% annual fee this year, and it's based on the prevailing construction costs in the industry. So the new fee is going to be increased by about $50 per new single family or new single family or apartment dwelling units that are constructed, and this excludes affordable housing and senior housing. So,
thank you.
Oh, the questions.
Let me see if there are questions. Questions? All right, appreciate it. All right, council, any questions or comments? Let's open the public hearing and ask Angela if they have any speaker cards.
We have no cards, sir.
Then I make a motion to close the public hearing. Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right. Again, this is a housekeeping item, really not much choice we have in the matter, unless somebody wants to discuss it. Other than that, I make a motion that we move for approval, and Bob second. Thank you.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Item 14 is the proposed plan for the NRPA 10-minute walk grant. Staff, would you tell us about this, please? Hi, welcome.
Hello, Council, Mayor. Just make sure our technology is working. My name is Frank Carson, the Director of Recreation. Thank you for having me today. I want to introduce you to our final report on the National Recreation Park Association 10-minute walk planning and technical assistance grant. That's a very long name for a grant, so I want to make sure I get it right. This serves in two functions, this presentation. So one is my final report on the grant as required per the grant, but also to introduce El Cajon 2030, Connecting People with Parks. So a little background on our city and our application process. When we first started the application back in early 2018, we identified that we have 17 parks in El Cajon. 120 acres of parkland is maintained. So that makes it about 1.2 acres per 1,000 residents. The national average is 3 acres per 1,000 residents, so that is an attractant for grants for us to actually get more grants. Even with all the available vacant land that we have in El Cajon, we'll never get to the 3 acres per 1,000 residents. So when we saw this opportunity for a 10-minute walk and having a different perspective to meet a national average, we jumped at it. Right now, 44% of the households live within a 10-minute walk to a city park. So with the grant concept, really the big push is to create parks within a 10-minute walk of every household. This grant was created through the National Recreation Park Association in partnership with the Trust for Public Land and the Urban Land Institute. In fact, we actually have the executive director for Urban Land Institute, San Diego, Tijuana, Heather Foley, and no relation to Morgan Foley, so I just want to make sure I clarify that. Heather actually was instrumental in us getting the grants. We had actually identified that we had local partners, and I did a cold email to her, just not even knowing her. I sent her, hey, this is what we're going for. This is our background of our city. This is what we want to target. And within 10 minutes, got a reply back saying, I'll have you a support letter within a day. So big thank you to Heather and ULI San Diego Tijuana for that. This is something that the Trust for Public Land came up with. So in their parkserve.org website, every city in the United States is scored. And we're not the lowest city, but right now they identify 44% of our residents live within a 10-minute walk. You can see the red zones as in the north central, south central, and also southeast areas of El Cajon really are what I would classify as underparked. That's the term that I want to promote, is that they're underparked in those areas. Excuse me. So our timelines were, we had the council approve the grant in April 2018. In May 2018, the NRPA put together training for all the grantees. There's 12 grantees nationwide. We're the only city in the state of California to get it, and one of only 2 on the West Coast. In the summer of 2018, we identified our technical team and our stakeholders. And from October to December of 2018, we did an analysis with the consultant, MIG, that we hired. From January to April 2019, we conducted 18 community surveys, or 18 community meetings with about 600 surveys completed. So our MIG, our consultant, identified, these are some highlights of our demographics, just to make sure you understand. With the American Community Survey, we know about 28% of our households speak Spanish as a primary language. It's hard to gauge with the American Community Survey, census, and everything else about how many Arabic speakers or Chaldean Aramaic speakers that we have. Using the statistics from the Cajon Valley Union School District, it's anywhere from about 18% to 25% of our households will speak a familiar Middle Eastern language such as Farsi, Arabic, Chaldean Aramaic, something along those lines. 43% of our households speak English as their first language, and 21% they identify that they don't speak English very well. Right now, El Cajon is actually identified as a very young city. 52% are under 35 years of age. The state average is 42%. So we're actually classified as a very young city in terms of our population. And lastly, 23% live below the poverty line as the most recent survey came through. Like I said, we had 18 community engagement meetings. Right here, this one's specifically at Chase Avenue Elementary. I wanted to highlight this photo specifically only because we had 5 languages in that room. It was pretty spectacular. So we had English, Spanish, Arabic, Chaldean, and Russian spoken in there, which was pretty fantastic. We didn't have a translator for Russian, but for all the other languages, and we also had a dialect of Farsi being spoken in there as well. So it was a great community meeting, getting input from in many different diverse languages. It was very special for me to be in that moment. We did specifically target 6 schools, only because these were the areas specifically that were underparked in those red zones that I showed you earlier. So we collaborated a lot with the schools. First, to get the kids to draw their dream park, but also to get input from the parents in those community meetings. So you have Anns Elementary, Johnson Elementary, Chase Avenue Elementary, Lexington Elementary. What you see in the middle right there is Meridian Elementary, and that tested my old camp counselor type of skills of 200 kids in the room all at the same time. I was like keeping them all engaged with me. And then we had Magnolia Elementary. Right now I wasn't able to do any of the students. I could do the parent meeting with them, but I'm going to go back and meet with the students as I have promised. We have about 350 of these My Dream Parks. And I wanted to include a couple of these images for you. So this is like a dream pirate ship type of park. And we did include some of our community survey questions on the right-hand side, as you can see here. And this is from a student from Chase Avenue Elementary. I thought it was a pretty cool little image that he drew, and I'll use these for future ground opportunities, and I'll speak about it in just a little bit. This one is somewhat characteristic of a very common theme. So students really like tetherball, I learned, and something new. So when we started doing these surveys with youth 5 years ago with our Kaboom playgrounds, everybody wanted a water slide or like a volcano or something. I didn't understand the whole volcano thing. But now, at least 10% want slime making stations. I don't know if that's possible for us, so we have to kind of figure that one out. Just to recap, an inventory of our parks and facilities, we do have 120 acres of parkland, 17 parks. So again, even though we are below the national average on our parkland, we do have 6 community centers. So with that, we're actually more than double the national average with rec centers. So that's something that our city recognized in the 1960s and 70s and put great effort to add more value to the community by creating these recreation centers. We have 4 gymnasiums and 1 pool. So this is something that our GIS team worked with MIG, our consultant, with. I know it might be hard to see, but the areas that you see in peach, this is the true walkable with sidewalks and everything within a 10-minute walk of a household. I do want to point out Magnolia Elementary specifically, because right next to Magnolia Elementary is Magnolia Park. It's not included in the survey, it's not identified as a park, but they have a giant sign in front of Magnolia Elementary. And with that, they have a Magnolia Park sign that says that. Kiwanis Club of Elko and Valley donated it. In conversations, we may be able to get an increase of 12% just by having a joint use with that as an example. So these are things that we learned and had conversations with through this process of a year. We specifically asked the consultant not to identify properties in the plan and not to identify like specific, hey, go to 201 East Main Street, only because Trust for Public Land, one of our partners, they may help us in the future by acquiring the land and then transferring title over to the city of El Cajon. And they've asked us specifically, do not identify property in the plan, because then that can change how that individual may raise the rate. And so so where you see in the blue highlighted areas, these are the most recommended places potentially for smaller parks, small-scaled parks. So in our survey with the adults, these are some highlights from the survey. So we asked, where do you recreate or play? 60% identified parks, either city, county, however they identified as a park. 52% identified that they play at their home or their yard. 26% are private recreation space, like a YMCA, Crunch, 24-hour fitness. 23% are places of worship, and 22% are schools. This is something interesting at the bottom there. You'll see Parkway Plaza. So we asked them, what are your closest parks to your home? And these are in order that people recognize were closest to their home. Didn't have to be correct, but we wanted to get their perspective. So Renette, Wells, Kennedy, Bostonia, and then they said Parkway Plaza. So they identified what they have, some features there at Parkway Plaza as a park, and there may be an opportunity for a public-private partnership with Parkway Plaza even. We want to think way outside the box with this opportunity. So another survey question is, what are our greatest needs? And what I told everybody in all those meetings are, you can only choose 3 things, because these are going to be small-scale size parks. You can call them pocket parks. So 51% said they wanted playgrounds. 39% said they wanted safe places to walk. 32% mentioned basketball courts or futsal courts. Futsal courts are like miniature-sized arena soccer type of courts. And then 29% were identifying turf area for sports. I wanted to throw in a 2013 photo of our Kaboom playground at Bostonia, our very first Kaboom there, just to show you an idea that we can still partner with agencies like Kaboom to get Kaboom playgrounds, where it's free to the city. We get 200 people all in one day, and we put it together. So some potential solutions, what we don't have is what you see in this photo in general. We don't have these large swaths of open space or open land, so we have to think outside the box. We do want to work with our partner, Trust for Public Land and the Urban Land Institute, to acquire land. And Trust for Public Land has different options that we can look at either through grants, but they will be able to acquire the land for us in a much simpler way than we would be able to do through a direct purchase. We could look at for real property donations. We could look at land dedication through trusts, long-term leases. A lot of cities nowadays in the last 10 years have looked at 30 to 50-year leases. LA has 3 parking lots that they just threw artificial turf on top of, and now that turned into a futsal or arena soccer court just in that respect. So what we're really pushing toward is thinking outside the box. Joint use agreements. So we do have 4 specific parks right now: Albert Van Zanten, Tuttle, Bostonia, and I'm drawing a blank. Cajon Valley Middle School that are joint use parks. And with that, we would maybe want to expand that to Magnolia Elementary and some other schools with that. So like I said, the way how we can be successful with this is creating a small footprint. Call it a pocket park. We want these to be active recreation oriented, just to keep the park activated and people moving, not being too passive in the park. We would really target 3 recreation amenities, and the average size of pocket parks is about 10,000 square feet, or a residential home type of plot in many respects. We could look at repurposing some of our sites and also additional joint use agreements. Some repurposing could be we are looking at the animal shelter outdoor space as potentially repurposing that as a smaller dog park right there that we have, a little plot of land right there. We could look at some of the storm channel small entries that we have. We own a lot of the storm channel property right now, and I am aware that our stormwater group is working with a local foundation right now to come up with a plan for that, and we can evaluate that as it comes out. We do own canyon and open space. We can create formalized trail systems. We definitely want to work with the community that live right next to that open space to make sure this is something they want, because if it's something they don't want, then we don't want to add that in. So we want to work with that community right there. Public-private partnerships, like I mentioned, with Parkway Plaza, additional joint use agreements with Cajon Valley Union School District and Grossmont Union High School District. Let's see what more can we add in terms of our park and areas to play and recreate. All right, so there is some great funding opportunities coming up. We have in August our first application for Prop 68 coming up. Prop 68 is somewhat unique, and the reason why we did 18 community meetings and we are planning on doing at least an additional 12 community meetings is that they require a minimum of 3 community meetings, ideally 5, per application location. If we're going to do 6 applications, we want to beef it up, and let's see how it falls apart, or how if we get them all. I don't think we'll get them all, by the way, but in that respect, we have to do 1 evening community meeting, 1 weekend community meeting, and identify that in our application process. There are other additional federal grants and nonprofit grants that are available that we will be targeting as well as we move forward if this plan is adopted. And lastly, I do want to thank specific people, our citizens of El Cajon, our El Cajon City Council for their leadership, Mayor Wells especially for signing off as one of the mayors, the first 200 mayors to sign off on the 10-minute walk plan nationwide, our city manager's office, Graham Mitchell and Vince DiMaggio, our civic group leaders. I know we have Carol Lewis here who helped promote some of our community meetings that we had initially to kick off, and also Mohammed Tuama with Newcomer Support and Development. Our internal technical team, I want to identify our associate engineer, Sanan Kachi, who was been a part of this every step of the way. Melissa Devine, our senior planner, who could not be here, but she was very much an impact on this, and Tim Williams, as well as Greg Smith with our GIS division, helping our consultant with the maps. The 6 schools with Cajon Valley Union School District, NRPA, ULI, Trusted Public Land, and MIG, our consultant. I'll take any questions should you have any.
Thanks, Frank. Any questions? Bob?
Yeah, Frank, did you include the park that was just put in at the El Cajon Transitional Living Center? Because they have a little park that was put in there.
I didn't, but I was going to talk to Harold about that. I actually talked with Lexington Elementary. They told me that they helped design that playground. Is that correct?
Yep.
Meridian, okay. Yep.
Good, thank you.
Frank, I wonder if there's an opportunity to underground some public parking and put like a grassy park on top, or even Forester Creek, if there's places where we could cover Forester Creek with the park. Are there any opportunities?
There are. That would be our storm channel, and that's why it just puts entryways to a storm channel. It's very difficult to do a full trail system type, so more of an entryway where we could add adult fitness equipment and some nature education pieces to that, maybe a small playground, but it could be nature-based type of playgrounds where they could learn about not littering and how to protect our environment type of thing. But yes, that's definitely identified in the plan.
I remember Harry Griffin Park was created by Helix undergrounding the reservoir and putting a park on top. Seems like there might be an opportunity if we get grant money to do the same with public parking around town.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Frank, great report. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right. Any discussion, or someone like to proceed with a motion?
Move to approve the adjustment to the regional or the park proposal.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right. There are no commission reports on today's agenda. That brings us to activities of the mayor and council. Item 15 is my activities report, which is as reported, and I have no legislative update today, but there's a lot going on in Sacramento, so we'll have a big legislative update next time. We are at the activity reports of council members. Councilmember Kendrick.
As reported.
Councilmember McCall.
As reported.
Deputy Mayor Steve Goebel.
As reported.
There are no joint council member reports today. Item 20 is for informational purposes only, and no action is needed. We finished that. Okay. There are no first readings or second readings of ordinances today, and that brings us to closed session. And our city attorney, would you please recite the title and lead us into closed session?
Thank you, Mayor. The Mayor and City Council will be meeting in closed session for a conference with its legal counsel on existing litigation pursuant to paragraph 1 of subdivision D of Government Code section 54956.9. The name of the case is El Cajon Police Officers Association versus City of El Cajon.
Thank you, sir. I would like to make a motion then to adjourn to closed session.
Second.
Move and second, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go into closed session for a few minutes. We'll be back and conclude the meeting. Thank you. That brings us to the adjournment. The adjourned regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, is held this 23rd day of April 2019. Is adjourned till Tuesday, May 14th, 2019 at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you.